Yay! Here we are. Here we are again. 2 hours UTC, Astronomy Daily Live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you could come in. Those of you who are jumping on, and those of you who will see this in the future, you can call me Cosmic. We're all cosmic, but for right now, let let me be cosmic and you be you. We can all be cosmic a little later. So hey everybody, nice to be back again. This is a live stream daily show all about astronomy and sort of the related sciences. I'm open to traverse sort of as wide of a field as we sort of want to. This is just a gathering, a circle of friends um, every single day for the moment at this particular time, 2 hours UTC. So where I'm located, which is in southeastern Arizona in the United States, uh, I am on Mountain Standard Time, which puts me 7 hours behind Universal Time. So 2 hours UTC on the 31st of January, 2018, is for me 7 p.m. on the 30th of January. And no, I haven't removed this itchy stuff yet. It's on its way. It's on its way. So I'm just starting everything up here. I watch the chat over on my Linux machine, and I watch the live stream on my smartphone. So I'm just getting into that. Come on now. We're thinking about it. There it is. Yay. Uncle Bill, thanks for coming in. OMC Triple X showing up. Awesome. Thanks. Thanks. Peace. I'm going to pop the chat out here. Let's see. Pop it out. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Uh, I'll make it a good one for sure. Let's do it. Anyway, this is just a circle of friends, gathering of friends, sitting around for an hour or so every single day and just talking about astronomy, right? Which is, really a discussion about everything. So, yeah, that's why it's pretty broad. I won't, you know, conversations uh, with, groups of friends can wiggle around and yeah. Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah. Now things are clear. Uncle Bill, as I said, this is sort of a new uh, 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 universe, and yeah, just trying to get used to the jargon is uh, uh, sometimes challenging. So yeah, I'm a little slow, but I catch on pretty pretty fast. So yeah. I appreciate you missing something else just just to keep trying this. So I appreciate that. I uh, I definitely do not uh, expect. daily attendance, unless you are so inclined. That's one of the cool things about a daily show. Uh, is that there's no pressure, no worries. Now I have sort of the two. No, tonight it actually is a little different. Tonight's drink is dihydrogen oxide, and it's mainly to sort of keep me energized, um, uh, so I can get up a little bit early tomorrow and do a live stream with the eclipsing full moon. So I'm going to get up really really early, and I'm going to have everything running up and running by 12 hours UTC. And I'm going to run for about an hour. So, I mean, it's not going to be the entire eclipse. And frankly, it's probably going to look a little boring um, because it's going to be, it looks like it's going to be a pretty narrow field of view. And it is the full moon, and it's going to be a dark full moon. So there's just not going to be a lot of contrast. It'll still look cool. And, if you're in a location where you're not able, to view it live, well, this is going to be a pretty good place to do that. Um, so, yeah, just, these kinds of things, they pop into my head, and it's like, okay, fine, because I've got all the pieces, I just have to put it together. So, anyway, so yeah, just for the extra energy tonight, it is most definitely dihydrogen oxide. Cheers. Hmm. It's this this universe of this viewing, right, is astonishingly large. Yeah, I'm curious about moving around in it a little bit more. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the actual show here. Um, so Astronomy Daily Live is just a live stream every single day at 2 hours UTC. Um, it's just a gathering of friends, a circle of friends, and so I would like it. Warnock 69 triple X. Um, if you know conversation can just sort of lead wherever the group wants to go. Don't necessarily consider me the one that has to move the conversations around. I certainly can. Lots to talk about. Um, but yeah, let's have this just sort of an open, casual conversation. Uh, this is, I'm trying to put this into a scientific scene. So I am definitely going to be um, very skeptical of things, but I'm also going to be extremely open-minded and considerate and respectful of things. Um, we sort of think that we're pretty smart, and mm, I don't know how you measure that. It's hard. Yeah, I think it's hard to measure that. So, not even going to try. Not even going to try. So, but other things, we can definitely do Q&A if you've got any questions, related to astronomy and anything. We can talk about gear. We can talk about um, CCDs, any kind of instrumentation. If you're into spectroscopy or polarimetry, let's bring it on. Um, Thank you, Warnock 69XXX. It's astronomy is an awesome subject at any level, and that's sort of what I would like to bring to this show is the recognition that the universe is an awesome place, and the awesomeness only gets better if uh, if you start digging a little bit and understanding the kinds of information that is being thrown at you at you know in sort of the normal media ways. So yeah, stick around, and I'm glad you jumped on, and yeah, I appreciate it for sure. Hmm. Yeah, OMC, Triple X. I don't even know if I'll keep that test up, because it's all that was I just wanted to confirm that I could do a live stream uh, through my scope. So now that I know that I can, and the picture looks okay. I think the only thing that I didn't do is I had the color turned completely off, and I think I probably want to do one more test somehow, maybe in the morning here, um, to see if I can pull out any color, because this is uh, this is a so-called blood moon. I mean, it's going to look unusually dark, and hopefully some nice color. I'm in a great location to see, I believe, the eclipse while it's setting. So it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm gonna try to get some wide field shots with the smartphone, and then some telescope shots as well. The live stream will be recorded, so I don't even have to record it. Technology's great. So yeah, that's all the rage in the news at the moment, is the eclipse, and I don't get too excited about eclipses anymore. Um, they're interesting because they're different. Um, don't happen all the time, and they're always trying to find ways to make it even more rare, and that's just to get people excited. So I understand all of that. It's just a lot of the information is mm, it's pretty obvious that the people who are putting out some of the information don't quite understand what they're reading. So but that's okay. I mean, it gets a lot of people excited, and that's fine. That's fine. I mean, it would it would be great for scientists to not have to rely so much on government funding to do their research. I would like more scientists to uh, uh, either find work at an independent institution that is somehow funded outside of the government, or do what I'm trying to do, and that is find find a group of supporters who uh, who understand and believe in what I'm doing in terms of research, and you know would be willing to support that. To let me do it all the time. As it is, I've got I've got an outside job. It's a very awesome and cool job. Uh, I work for the Wizard of Oz, and so I mean, what could be? Well, there are things that could be better than that, but it's not bad. Problem with it is that it is beginning to wind down. So um, so yeah, it's uh, extremely awesome, but there's not going to be any more work after a while. We're working on a few other projects, but we don't really know where those are going to go yet. So yeah, I look at alternatives, and hey, if I could if I could get the funds to pay the bills, so I could do research and this kind of stuff full time, um, that would be extremely cool. And I'm pretty set. I'm pretty set up in terms of research. I don't need to acquire anything. Um, yeah, I mean, the only thing that I would really like to improve right now is, the laptop that I'm using is very, very old. It's going to fall apart at some point, and this camera is like the cheapest, worst camera ever. So if you could only see what I am seeing, it's just, it's awful, awful. All right, so thing about Europa's landing surface, it's based on polarizing light. Okay, yeah, yeah, it's, as I've said here, and I'll say it many, many times. The uh, trying to model things, is really, really hard. It's not necessarily that you have um, like an infinity of possibilities, um, but you first you have to have at least a basic well, enough of an understanding to limit the possibilities, because otherwise it's just, it's x plus y equals z, and they're in that equation, there's an infinity of possibilities. But if you start narrowing it down and saying, that z has to equal 3, and x plus y has to be um, integers greater than 0, then you've narrowed it down to actually only one answer. So uh, so you've got to be able to narrow it down, and then you have to further realize that even narrowing it down, you're going to have probably going to have multiple answers. And so then what you start looking at is what's the most probable correct answer, and what's the most improbable correct answer. And so, yeah, you've got to get into that. And the answers that we get from these models are the most probable good answers. Um, you know, it's the answers that match the data the closest and are also most likely to be correct. But even then, there are usually multiple answers. Yes, I've got a little friend here coming on in. The other thing that I wanted to briefly mention about this live stream um, was one of my motivations, for doing this. I've been thinking about for a little while, and it finally sort of came together this past day, and that is, there are, and I've observed this with other YouTube channels that I watch. There's a lot of people out there who are, you know, just downright lonely, and or um, otherwise aren't really able, to interact with any people, or as many as they want. So I'm sort of seeing, this live stream, this daily thing, um, as sort of like that too. At least for an hour or so, you can, have an interesting conversation with someone who has a passion, um, just just like what you have. So that is extremely awesome. And if you're in um, that kind of situation, I sympathize. I'm sort of purposely in that kind of a situation where yeah, I I like to work on my stuff. I'm here at home, and so that's what I do. I don't get out much. Um, I thoroughly enjoy, the company of 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 um, any size, but if I have my preference, I would much rather just be home here, comfy in my castle, out in the dark, um, doing my thing, and yeah, don't want to go anywhere else. Anyway, so that's another motivation is just to have this interesting kind of connection, which is a little strange still, but it's yeah, it's interesting, and I like it. I like it. I don't see this kind of thing in general going away, just getting more and more interesting and complicated. All right, cheers. Planet X coming by us soon. Is Planet X coming by us soon? Well, there, you know, again, a lot of this, this stuff is sort of based on models that they've been matching to data. Um, I'm not quite sure which Planet X you're talking about, Warnock 69 triple X, but um, uh, the sort of the most recent one uh, was some kind of an indication uh, of of differences in orbits of these trans-Neptunian objects that are way out there, and they've been observing the motions of these objects for a certain amount of time, and at least they think that they have a pretty good idea of what their orbits are. All the parameters of the orbit, how elliptical it is, what the inclination it is relative to us. Um, how long it takes to go around the sun once, how close does it get to the sun, how far away does it get, that kind of stuff. Good idea about all of those um, parameters. Now, depends on how good the observations are and how long you've been observing it. These trans-Neptunian objects haven't been known for very long, so you know accuracy and precision, questionable. Maybe pretty good, maybe good enough. Mm, I'm a skeptic, just a skeptic. So, but what they found was that the observations um, didn't were 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 always a little bit off, um, in a and they were off in a way that produced some kind of a pattern that could be seen. And so the conjecture is that these differences are caused by the fact that the model isn't including something else that is perturbing the motions of these moons and asteroids, not moons, but I guess asteroids that are minor planets, whatever you want to call them. Um, that there, that there's some object or objects uh, beyond those orbits that are perturbing the motions of these guys enough to cause. I got somebody behind me there. Um, um, Perturbing them enough to be able to see it, and so they can take their model and uh, do all kinds of things. You can include all kinds of of things, and they found that lo and behold, if they put sort of a largish object, and I don't remember what the current thinking in terms of size is there. Maybe somebody in chat knows. Maybe somebody in chat knows. Um, 2 or 3 or 4 times the mass of the Earth. Don't quote me on that. Pretty big though. A pretty big rock. Way, way, way out there. Huge, huge, huge orbit. Um, Actually, we're able to manipulate the models to allow them to maybe give them an idea of where in the sky to look. Where in the sky to look. So that's what they're doing now. They, are looking around, and you know, if they make various assumptions about possible large planet is um, uh, composed of, then they can get an idea based on how far away it is as to how bright it is, and then you know how to size either with a telescope. If you need a huge scope, or if you can make do with a smaller scope with maybe a longer exposure to the CCD camera, or maybe it's so faint that you need a large scope and a long exposure, the whole thing. So yeah, um, don't exactly know what the status of that is, but I do think that they're still in the process of looking. So if that's the one that you mean, well, that's sort of the one that I just described. Uh, Pretty sure there are some pretty good papers out about that. Uh, yeah. Well, yeah, so if you've got, you know, that kind of a question, just sort of a pop in, ask the question. I sort of go, yeah, and you get something out of that. Awesome. Um, I'm hopefully, just sort of, skimming the surface and maybe giving you, direction, to do your own research, because if you want to dive deep, I mean, if you want to dive deep into that stuff, get your hands on the actual data. Um, it's most likely available. So, you know, from right where you are, you can be doing some interesting work, and that's the kind of stuff that I would like to be able to do constantly. Maybe not even sleep. Who knows? Plutoids. Plutoids. Okay. Plutoids. You know, Uncle Bill, I think we can put that on the list of possibilities. Hey, I'm going to pause just for a moment. I have that same kitty that was back here is now, they understand enough to know where the mechanism for the door is, but they can't do that. So they just make noise until I figure out what I'm doing. So I will be right back. I'm just going to let him out. Hold on. All right. Awesome. So Uncle Bill, thanks for all the kindness. You're it's it's nice to have an extended hand and be really really welcome into the group. I've been watching the weekly space hang out. Long time, long time. So long watcher, big supporter. Uh, that's a that's a nice group for sure. And I think trying to, I mean, part of what I'm doing now is trying to get some traction, right? I'm trying to you know build at least a little bit of an audience, so we can have some interesting conversations, right? Um, but yeah, I think doing that kind of thing completely solo is not not necessary. Um, so why not jump onto the train and take the ride that way, and then everybody can benefit. So yeah, I think it's awesome. So yeah, I appreciate everything that you've done so far, and probably will continue to do. So yeah, greatly appreciated. Catalog of those plutoids is far too thin and young still, and only certain directions. Yeah, I think the stuff about Planet X. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think so too, Uncle Bill. I think I, I don't, I haven't looked too deeply, but my guess is because these plutoids, uh, you know, pretty recent discoveries, and not a lot of them. And pretty recent means um, probably not very good orbits. Maybe a lot of data, but the thing about an orbit is that you need time, and there's, you know, as far as I know, we haven't figured out a way to speed that up yet. So we are just going to have to wait. And I think, don't quote me again, but I think some of these orbits are thousands of years. I mean, big long orbits, and so you don't need a lot of data. You need a lot of time. So if we've only been looking at these for 20 years, even if we you know I mean, technically, Pluto uh, is a Plutoid, right? Oid, oid, Plutioid, Pluti, Plutiod, Plutiods, huh? Plutiods, Plutiods. Okay. Anyway, so I mean, even if we consider Pluto, which has been known of for I want to say 80 years, 90 years. It was 1930 when Pluto was discovered. So not very long, not a lot of temporal data. So the orbit, that's a tough one. It's really tough because you don't have enough of the orbit to really be able to nail it down and know specifically. So yeah, these models could be completely wrong, and yeah, they probably are. That's the great thing, though, for me about being a scientist is that I cherish being wrong because that's how I learn, and that's sort of what that's sort of what I want to do anyway. So making mistakes, yeah, that's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. It's that should not be looked looked down upon and degraded because that's how you learn. It's a great way. I mean, it can be a tough way to learn, but it's a great way to learn. And yeah, no problem. So if they're wrong, well, we'll at least learn that they're wrong, and we can sort of eliminate things. See, as I said, it's about narrowing down the possibilities. It's not necessarily trying to find the answer, but just narrowing it down to basically a probability distribution, and saying, okay, that possibility there is the most likely one. So we'll go with that. But to say that that is the answer, nah, maybe sometimes, but not with this kind of stuff at all. So if I were a dolphin, which ocean would I want to exist? Would I want to exist in? Plutoids. Well, that would be TOIDS then. TOIDS, not TIODS. Just saying. I was honored to be surrounded by a what do they call a group of dolphins? Um, a bunch of dolphins off the southern coast of Maui in a boat, where I turned pretty much every shade of green that I could imagine, at least. So that was pretty cool. Um, but they look pretty happy there. They look pretty happy there. So I would say that um, probably the nicest place to be uh, for a dolphin would be like Southwest Pacific, around just north of the equator there, but off the coast of Asia. So Indonesia, yeah, that's probably a nice place. So I guess technically that would be the Pacific Ocean, maybe the border between the Pacific and the Indian. So I think dolphins, don't they get around? They get around all over the planet, yeah? Hmm, don't know. Don't know. Yeah, I've got a story about being on that boat. Maybe I'll tell you guys at some point. Oy, yeah, it was not a pretty scene being on that boat. No, no, I'm not going to do that again. Somebody else can do that part. Yeah. Uncle Bill, I think you said that you don't have a scope or binoculars, or was that somebody else? At least at this point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. The delay here is just insane, but uh, yeah, well, that's cool. There's as you know, there is much that can be done on naked eye, for sure. What we haven't had in a little while is a nice naked eye comet. So you know maybe we can rustle up one of those sometime soon. Um, I think back to comets that I have seen, and by by far, by far, uh, above above everything else. I was honored honored to have witnessed what I can call a great comet. They talk about, and I'm just making up this date, the Great Comet of 1861, and you see these, you know, wood carvings or drawings of this comet just going, halfway across the sky. And as a kid, and even as an adult, it's like, oh, come on, you're exaggerating. You got to be exaggerating it. You know, they're they're just doing that for PR or something, right? And but when I saw Hayukatake, um, that was, I've got a picture of it here that was taken by a good friend. Hold on. When I trying to remember when that happened, but we were able to see that at its closest approach to Earth, and naked eye, over the course of half an hour, you could easily easily notice that it had moved. And when I saw that, I mean, it makes you a little uneasy because it's like, wow, that is super, 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 super close. That is like scary close. You know, if you can see it moving over the course of a few minutes, whew, that's just a little too close. And um, well, the picture that I have, and at some point I'll try to show this off. It's on another wall, and it's been up there ever since I I moved in. But it shows the tail probably about twice twice as long as if you were to take the Big Dipper, so the end of the handle to the end of the bowl, and double it, triple it. Yeah, between 2 and 3 times that length. That's how long the tail is. The visible tail with a pretty short exposure image. That was probably maybe a 15-minute exposure there, something like that. But it goes across the whole field of view, and it's, yeah, two or three of those lengths. So I'm proud to have say that I have indeed seen a great comet, and yeah, it's about as awesome uh, as the drawings. The drawings are exaggerated in terms of like contrast and all that, but um, for the science uh, and the brightness, yeah, Hale Bopp was totally awesome, but um, uh, just because it was so bright. But I guess I'm biased towards large. So when that comet, oh, what was the name of that comet that brightened unexpectedly and went through some kind of an event? Oh, it begins with a T. Uh, anyway, that was pretty awesome. That was pretty awesome. Um, yeah, comet. I I have to agree that bright comets really do sort of look best naked eye or with binoculars. Nice wide field of view so you can take in the whole thing. Um, Telescopes, of course, are great, because you can dive into the nucleus a little bit more. Um, but yeah, comets are that kind of object that is great just to be able to go out and look at. So unfortunately, there are a lot of um, faint comets. There are wow, there's thousands of them now. You know, um, with a C8 comet on any night, you can usually see at least half a dozen or so. So yeah, but the bright ones are definitely best naked eye, or yeah, some small binos, 10 by 50. I think you said. Yeah, yeah, perfect, absolutely perfect. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. So yeah, you don't need gear. If you're into satellites, uh, it's best not to use a telescope unless you want to photograph it, um, because they're fast moving. I also have coffee, but it's probably a little cold by now. Holmes, Holmes. It was Holmes, the one that yeah. I mean it some kind of explosion or something, right? Yeah, I think it was Holmes. That was a very very awesome one. All right, well, cool. I um, just for future listeners, because this this project that I have to measure the moon, measure the distance to the moon, I think that's going to probably just be an ongoing project. I don't really necessarily see an end to that. Um, so if if you're listening to this, even um, in the future, get a hold of me if you're interested in participating in this project. So all you need is some kind of a digital camera and a way of making sure that the picture that you take has has the moon in it and a like a bright star or bright planet in it. And at least a week in advance, I will contact you and say, okay, we're going to have um, this observing opportunity where you're going to be able to go out at a designated time. And it could be, it could be in the early evening, it could be in the early morning, it could be at midnight, it could be any time. Um, uh, Go out and at this designated time, take a picture of the moon that will be next to either a bright star or a planet. Um, so all you have to do is make sure that both of those can be seen in your picture, um, and write down or somehow note the time you took it. As I said, it should be done at a designated time, plus or minus a few minutes, 10 or 15 is fine. Um, Not going to be too strict on times and all those kinds of things. That will affect the accuracy and precision of the results. But that's science. We can't be exact. No such thing as exact. So the other thing that I will need from you is your latitude and longitude. Um, this can be as precise or imprecise as you wish, um, because that's a privacy thing. I totally understand that. Um, but if you're within 1 or 2 degrees of your location, that's probably good enough. Um, yeah, and that information will be kept private for sure. Um, if I need to sign any kind of non-disclosure or anything, I'm more than happy to do that. Um, the results will be written at least in a publishable format, and I'll try to get it published. So information about latitude and longitude will not be included. That information won't be included um, in the paper. I will designate it in some other way. Position A, position B, position C, something like that. Uh, and from that, yeah, the information gleaned from that isn't going to give away positions or anything. So yeah, I will keep that information close for sure. And all of you will be co-authors on it as well. So yeah, I think that's going to be neat and fun and interesting, and it's going to allow all of us from all over the planet. I've been contacted from um, uh, all over the planet to participate in this. So yeah, it's going to be really really cool. And as I said, I think it's going to be ongoing. I'll I'll try to decide on how much data to collect for sort of this first publication round, and then we can certainly have follow-ups after that. And yeah, super super easy. Don't need a telescope. Um, just have to be able to see this moon that will be next to a bright star or a planet. And um, how this is going to work in a single word, it's called parallax. And I'm going to be able to use the parallax method, um, similar to you know holding your finger out at um, um, arm's length and winking your eyes back and forth and noticing that your finger moves relative to the background. And that's exactly what the moon does. The moon um, shifts back and forth relative to the background stars. And I can measure that shift. And if I know that shift and the distance between two or more observers, um, those two pieces of information and a little bit of some fancy trigonometry um, allows you to figure out how far away the observer is from the observed, uh, and that is the distance to the moon. So really, really easy stuff, really fun, and collecting the data I cannot do alone. I just can't. I can't be you know three places at exactly the same time, but we can. So let's do it. And yeah, I think that'll be really, really cool. Super, super easy. Um, no special equipment. If you've got a smartphone, that'll work. Digital camera for sure will work. The moon is probably going to be overexposed. That's fine. No worries at all. We deal. Scientists have to deal with the equipment that they have and the data that they can squeeze out of that equipment. So I don't sweat that at all. The moon's going to be overexposed, and so my measurement of the position of the moon isn't going to. Yeah, I mean it's not going to be exact. I'm going to make it as accurate and precise as I possibly can, but it's definitely not going to be exact at all. So the accuracy is going to be off. Hopefully the precision is going to be good, but accuracy. But maybe we can find a constant I'm constantly off by a certain amount. And so, what accounts for that kind of a bias? You can dive really, really deep into this stuff. It's great fun, and it's the real deal. It's not just collecting data, um, but it's understanding how that data is used to match against what are effectively models, um, and we have you know we can build a model with all these knobs and switches on it, and we can play with the knobs and flip different kinds of switches to produce different results that, as I've said, we can compare to models and see how good those things match up, and maybe that means that this knob that's turned to this setting is uh, is the correct one, and yeah. So I think it's going to be an interesting project. I'm going to start going on this. I actually just sent out. I wrote up a little short uh, thing description of the project to people who have contacted me so far. And so now it's really just a matter, I think, of me pushing the button. Um, there is going to be the moon's going to be going past Regulus here on February 1st, but that's just a couple of days away, and I want to give people about a week's warning and a couple of reminders in between that. So start at least a week in advance. So I'll I'll run the simulations here. Stellarium is great for predicting the future, and it's usually pretty good at it. So um, I'm going to use that to find um, a moon passing by a bright object event. Um, that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, so I can have a little bit of time, to figure out who's going to be able to see it, because my team so far is distributed all over the planet, so not everybody is going to be able to see this event. So that's how it goes. That's the problem with being on a sphere, is that everybody is looking in a different direction. But those that are going to be able to participate, I have to figure out who those are, and then I have to decide on a time, and I'm going to try to make it as reasonable as I can, um, and uh, and then I have to alert them, and I want to be able to alert them, as I said, at least a week in advance, and then a couple of reminders during that week, and then yeah, collect the data and run it through, get some numbers, and yeah, it should be very, very, very cool. All right, so anything else at all for this evening? Anything else at all for this evening? Covered lots of interesting things. As I said, I like to discuss the scientific process. Um, try to help viewers here understand sort of where we scientists are coming from. Because it's I mean from uh, sort of the media coverage, there's a lot of misunderstanding, and so yeah, that's another thing that I think all of these streamers, YouTubers, podcasters are doing, are trying to sort of you know set the record straight in a lot of ways. So yeah, that's another good reason to be here. So anything else for tonight, Uncle Bill? Should we call it a good night? I think we probably should. I uh, I respect my viewers' time and appreciate those of you who are spending with me now or spending it with me in the future. Um, so yeah, glad you could stop by. It's just this is it. It's just sort of a very, very casual, hopefully relatively high quality. I don't want you to necessarily be wasting well, at least feel as though you're wasting your time. So yeah, hopefully that's not occurring, and I can keep this, sort of fresh and um, interesting. Cool, cool. You can catch side B. Yeah, I don't consider it a competition, but but there are a lot of choices, and I'm a huge advocate for expanding choice and having lots and lots of choices. So I'm hoping to be a relatively decent choice, and that's the cool thing about, there's so many nice things about having a daily thing like this, is that even my viewers don't feel obligated, to come in every single day. You just don't have to. If you can't, don't want to, or there's something else, go do that. You know, follow what is making you happy, and if coming in here and getting into the circle and chit chatting astronomy for an hour or more or less, if that's what's making you happy, do it. That's what I'm all about. So you know, I'm the only one that probably really wants to be here every single day. Um, if lots of others do too, awesome, absolutely awesome. Uh, if nobody does, at least live, no worries, no worries at all. Um, this isn't a good time for everyone, and they're so far so far I've observed that tomorrow does come, and this live stream will happen again in almost exactly 22 hours from now. So yeah, check me out in the wee hours of my morning. I'm gonna start setting up. Um, I'm gonna try to go live, sometime between. Uh, that's gonna be. Uh, that's gonna be. Mm, what is that gonna be? 4 a.m. my time. So you add 7 to that, and that's 11 a.m. UTC. So 11 a.m. Yeah, probably going to be starting up. I'd like to get started by 12 hours UTC and go for about an hour or so. But I might start a little bit early. If I do, I'll probably, look, probably want, to look at Jupiter over there. And yeah, I think I've taken a pretty big chunk, and that's why this is going to stay pretty casual. Um, this is fun. This is fun, and um, yeah, not going to worry too much about um, rapid consumption. So this is just going to be fun, gathering of friends every single day. You know, interact a little bit, and talk astronomy for a while. Very cool. Very casual. Don't I don't see burnout happening at all. There's so much to talk about in astronomy that yeah, it's a full thing. It's been years and years and years. I have. It's not over yet, for sure. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Definitely, this is a seed that's been planted, and pretty much all I can do is keep it watered, keep it fed, um, nurture it a little bit, don't just let it die because of neglect. Um, so and just watch it grow and see what happens. And that's sort of what I'm going to do. I'm sort of going to be an observer of this hopefully a little bit of growth. And yeah, I think that'll do it. And yeah, it's well, it sort of depends on the crowd, but we can dive pretty deep, or we can stay more on the surface. Whatever it is, if we're talking astronomy, then I'm in a pretty happy place. So whatever level you want to bring in, um, I'm certainly at a particular level as well. Know maybe a few more things than others, and don't know a lot of things that others do. So yeah, I'm caught in the middle, pretty much just like you are. Uh, Life experience maybe a little different, but that's about it. That's about it. Yeah, I think this is going to be fun. I don't see it ending. It looks like I've got so far some great support, and I greatly appreciate that. Um, yeah, I'm just going to have fun, and that's what it's all about. All right, so for now, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let you all go. Thanks for hanging in, and yeah, I'm really excited to see this thing turn into something. Um, yep, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be really fun and interesting. It's never ending, so might as well do it. So all right, I'm going to get out. Take care. I will see you in a little less than 22 hours. Um, if you can watch the eclipse, cool. That's the other cool thing about YouTube, is that this is going to record the whole thing. So I'm going to have a recording. Good enough? All right, I'm out. Have a great one, and I will see you tomorrow. See you on the spin.